We talk about worldly life all the time. The distractions, the struggles, the highs, the lows. But have you ever thought about what the phrase worldly life actually means? In the Quran, Allah doesn't just call it worldly life. The Arabic word used is ad-dunya, which doesn't just mean this world. It actually comes from the root word al-adna, that means low and inferior, the lowest life. Not just worldly, the lowest. That right there is powerful, because it tells us something we often forget. This isn't all there is. This life, with all its beauty, its pain, its temporary joys, and its exhausting struggles, is literally the lowest form of existence. There's something higher, something better, something greater waiting for us. Think about it. When we say life is tough, when we feel like we're drowning in stress, heartbreak, or loss, Allah is saying, this is as low as it gets. It only gets better from here. That's an incredible form of optimism, isn't it? Because no matter how difficult things get, no matter how much we feel like we can't handle it, this is the worst it will ever be. If we just hold on, if we just keep our faith, it only gets better. And I know what some of you might be thinking, but what about hellfire? Isn't that worse? And yes, hellfire is beyond terrifying. But here's the thing. Allah doesn't even call hellfire life. In fact, He says about its people in Surah Al-A'la, Ayah 13, He will neither die therein, nor will he live. It's not life. It's not existence in the way we understand it. It's just punishment. But Jannah, paradise, Allah calls that the real life in Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 64. And indeed, the home of the hereafter, that is the real life if only they knew. This life is just a glimpse, a temporary test. It was never meant to be perfect. It was never meant to be home. And the way Allah describes paradise, it feels so familiar, doesn't it? Lush gardens, flowing rivers, beautiful mansions, delicious food, love, peace, happiness. Doesn't that sound like the things we chase here? The perfect vacation spot, the dream house, the best food, the best relationships. Allah describes paradise in terms we recognize, because this world is a preview. Everything beautiful in this life is just a fraction of what exists there. Every taste, every sight, every joy. It's all just a hint, a whisper, a shadow of what's waiting for us. That's why when we see something breathtaking, like a sunset that makes us pause, or a view so stunning it almost feels unreal, that's Allah giving us a small taste. A reminder. Think about the things we love in this world, our favorite meals, the thrill of tasting something delicious after craving it for so long, the warmth of a cozy home, the beauty of forests and rainbows, the joy of laughing with loved ones. These moments make life feel rich and fulfilling, and we cling to them, chasing after experiences that bring us comfort and happiness. But as incredible as they are, they're just a preview, a mere glimpse of something far greater. Allah, in His mercy, placed beauty and pleasure in this world, not to satisfy us fully, but to remind us of what's waiting in paradise. Every sweet fruit, every moment of peace, every feeling of love, it's all just the lowest version of what's to come. Imagine a life where joy never fades, where every bite is more delicious than the last, where beauty is endless, and where happiness isn't tainted by loss or exhaustion. That's paradise. If this world can offer us things we love so deeply, then what about a world designed by Allah Himself, free from all flaws? And then Allah gives us an analogy in the Quran, in Surah Al-Hadid, Ayah 20, one that really makes you stop and think. Know that the life of this world is only play and amusement, pomp and mutual boasting among you, and competition in wealth and children, like the example of rain whose growth pleases the farmers. Then it dries up and you see it turn yellow, then it becomes broken pieces. And in the hereafter there is severe punishment and forgiveness from Allah and His pleasure. And what is the life of this world except the enjoyment of delusion? This verse is such a deep and vivid description of how temporary this world really is. Let's break it down. Allah begins by telling us what this life consists of. Play, amusement, showing off, and competition. And isn't that exactly what we see around us? When we're kids, life is all about playing, toys, games, running around without a care. Then we grow up a little, and it becomes about amusement, having fun, entertainment, distractions. Then as we get older, it's about pomp and boasting. Who has the best clothes, the best lifestyle, the most followers, the most recognition. And eventually it turns into competition. Who has more money, a better job, a bigger house, more successful children. It's the cycle of life, and we all go through it in one way or another. But then Allah gives us an analogy to really put things into perspective. He compares this life to rain. At first, the rain falls and the earth comes to life. Plants grow, the fields look lush and beautiful, and the farmers are delighted. But what happens next? That greenery doesn't last. The plants dry up, they turn yellow, and eventually they crumble to nothing. And think about it. If you were about to step on something valuable, you'd pause. You'd stop yourself. If you felt your phone under your foot, you'd immediately lift your foot in panic. But when it's just dried leaves, you don't think twice. You step on them, crush them under your feet, and keep walking without a second thought. Because they're worthless. They have no value. And that's exactly how Allah describes this life. No matter how beautiful or grand it may seem, in the end, it's just like those dried up leaves, temporary, fragile, and ultimately insignificant compared to what's coming next. That's how this world is. Allah is telling us, that's the nature of this world, of this dunya He created. The things we chase, the things we get so attached to, they look beautiful at first. They seem fulfilling, but they don't last. The money we work so hard for, it gets spent. The success we were so proud of, someone else surpasses us. The beauty we admired, it fades. Everything in this world is like that. It flourishes for a while, and then it fades into nothing. Life moves forward. We grow, we change, and everything we once thought was so important fades away. And that's where the real choice comes in. Because Allah tells us after this world fades away, there are two paths waiting. One path leads to severe punishment. The other leads to forgiveness from Allah and His pleasure. And He ends the verse with one final reminder. And what is the life of this world except the enjoyment of delusion? Everything we see here is temporary. If we chase it like it's the ultimate goal, we're chasing an illusion. But if we use it wisely, if we remember that it's just a test, just a bridge to the next life, then we can move through it without getting lost in the delusion. Because in the end, this world isn't home. It was never meant to be. It looks full of life, but it's temporary, it's fading, it's dying. And if we attach ourselves too deeply to it, we'll fade with it. But here's the beautiful part. Not everything fades. There's something that lasts. Allah tells us in Surah Al-Kahf, ayah 46, "Wealth and children are adornments of the worldly life, but the enduring good deeds are better to your Lord for reward and better for hope." Not your wealth, not your status, not your achievements. The kindness you show, the prayers you pray, the moments of sincerity between you and Allah. Those things never die. And what's the first thing Allah mentioned in the analogy? Water. Water comes from the sky, nourishes the earth, and then it moves on. It never stays in one place. And that's exactly how this world is designed. Nothing stays the same. Some of us hate change. We fight it, we resist it. We wish we could just freeze time and keep things exactly as they are. But Allah is telling us, that's not how this world works. Just like water has to keep moving, life has to keep changing. That job you lost, that friend who drifted away, that chapter of life that ended before you were ready, it's all part of the design. And just like water, every change is carrying us somewhere. Even the ones that feel painful. Even the ones we don't understand yet. Because what happens when water moves? It nourishes something new. So maybe what you lost wasn't meant to stay. Maybe that door closed because a better one is about to open. Maybe Allah is taking you somewhere higher, somewhere greater, somewhere better. Because remember, this is the lowest life. It only goes up from here.